Everyone knows Nvidia for their GPUs, RTX, DLSS, frame generation. But what if I told you their next move isn't another GPU? It's an ARM-based chip designed for AI PCs and maybe even your next Windows laptop. And here's the twist. I think I've already seen its strengths and weaknesses in this thing right here. Today we're talking about the leaked Nvidia N1X chip, how it stacks up against AMD's Ryzen AI 395, what it means for Windows on ARM, and yeah, we've got to talk about the Jetson ecosystem too, because Nvidia could either change the game or lock it down entirely. But let's discuss. Let's start with the leak. According to a Geekbench listing, the N1X chip is a 20-core ARM CPU paired with a GPU supporting 6,144 CUDA cores, which is the same number as the desktop RTX 5070. And while it only scored around 46,000 in Geekbench OpenCL, that's already higher than Apple's M3 Max and way ahead of anything from Qualcomm or Intel's iGPUs. Now, of course, this is an engineering sample. Early clocks are only around 1.05 gigahertz, and the power draw is reported to be somewhere between 80 and 120 watts. So that score comes to a lot of caveats and baggage. If final silicon hits full clocks with real drivers, this will rival discrete laptop GPUs. That's wild to think about. We're talking about an SoC with full RTX class horsepower running in a single unified package. Think about what that means for handhelds, slim laptops, and even, yes, AI edge devices. Now, granted, we're still on LPDDR5X. I'm unsure of the exact memory speed here, but I'd love to see the memory controller support something blazing fast, something in the range of 9600 megatransfers a second. That would give this chip the kind of bandwidth needed to keep those 6,000 plus CUDA cores fed, especially in a unified memory setup. It's not GDDR7, but it doesn't have to be if the LPDDR5 package is fast enough and well integrated, of course. Now let's talk about the AMD-shaped elephant in the room, the Ryzen AI 395. This is AMD's flagship APU, a monster built on TSMC's N4 node and of course their brand new Zen 5 architecture. We're talking 16 high-performance CPU cores paired with a massive 40 CU RDNA 3.5 integrated GPU. It's already showing up in everything from large OEM laptops to boutique handhelds, and for good reason. It's a powerhouse. It's designed to dominate AI PCs and run modern games without needing a discrete GPU, but there's a serious caveat. For all its raw power, the Ryzen AI 395 doesn't scale down particularly well, especially below 15 watts. Efficiency drops very, very much off a cliff. And that's a problem for mobile-first devices, especially in a world of handhelds, fanless portables, and AI edge boxes. My God, I hate saying the word AI. But it feels like AMD built this chip for discrete platforms first, and a few pioneers tried to retrofit it into portable ones second. And that's where Nvidia might have the edge, not just in power scaling, but really in software. DLSS, Reflex, CUDA, RTX video. Nvidia no longer just sells you the silicon, they sell you a full stack platform, one that enhances performance, smooths frame pacing, accelerates workloads, and enables some features that AMD is still playing catch up on. Even if the raw specs are close, and they very well might be, Nvidia's ecosystem could tip the scales. Think about how a mid-range RTX 4060 punches above its weight with DLSS 3, when VRAM permits, of course. The N1X could do the same, and if that happens, AMD's raw compute advantage will not matter if Nvidia's software makes games look better, run smoother, and draw less power while doing it. But for a second, let's zoom out, because this isn't just a battle between Nvidia and AMD. It's also a major turning point for Windows on ARM. And right now, unfortunately, WOA is not in a great shape. For years, Microsoft has tried to push ARM-based Windows laptops using Qualcomm Snapdragon chips. But let's be honest, the results have been mixed at best. Performance lags behind x86, GPU drivers are weak, and app compatibility still hinges on emulation layers that kill battery and speed. You know, as a personal example, I like to use WPS Office as a sort of Microsoft Office suite alternative, and the app has to run an emulation on Snapdragon. Now, you'd think that a word processor would give you pretty good battery life, even emulated, but no, it doesn't. With only WPS Office open, I can maybe get 2.5 hours of battery life. It's as George Costanza once said,
"You know, we're living in a society. We're supposed to act in a civilized way."
Even today's Snapdragon X Elite laptops struggle to match their x86 counterparts in sustained loads or GPU acceleration outside of a handful of well-optimized scenarios. Most Windows on ARM devices feel like proof of concept machines. Great battery life, sure, but responsiveness, driver maturity, and software support, that is still a work in progress. And that's where Nvidia comes in. This company already knows how to build performant ARM platforms, not just for gaming or AI dev boards, but potentially for general purpose consumer computing. If anybody can bring competent GPU to Windows on ARM with real drivers, CUDA acceleration, and modern media pipelines, it's Nvidia, of course. They've had years to refine their software stack with DLSS, Reflex, and RTX video. Plug that stack into a mature Windows on ARM system, and suddenly you've got a platform that's no longer a compromise, it's a real alternative. We just need to tell Microsoft to get out of the way and stop hitching their horse to the Qualcomm cart. They need to focus on making mobile processors. You know, they blew it in the desktop space. And Microsoft is, of course, fumbling Windows on ARM so badly. It's just shocking to me that it's going this poorly. But, you know, Microsoft and Qualcomm will do what Microsoft and Qualcomm do. But to switch gears a bit, we need to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. Because Nvidia didn't just power the Switch 2, they refined it, in my opinion. Custom silicon, custom firmware, and performance that rivals last-gen consoles in a device the size of a paperback book. That experience no other chip vendor has. It's invaluable, really. Now apply that to the N1X with a power envelope between 7 and 15 watts. This SoC could power anything from a high-end PC handheld rival to a fanless AI workstation. It doesn't have to be bespoke, just good, and DLSS could make it great. Say we're chill about Nvidia and their business practices, but we don't talk enough about how valuable that sort of experience is. Nvidia knows how to squeeze power into constrained thermals. They've been battle tested in real gaming conditions. That's why I think this chip could become the next big thing in handheld gaming. But now here's the catch. This is my Jetson Orin Nano Super. 8GB of LPDDR5, Ampere GPU, ARM CPU. On paper, a killer development board. In practice, it's a locked down ecosystem that makes me very, very nervous. The Jetson line is powerful, but it's fenced in. You're locked to Jetpack OS unless you jump through a myriad of hoops. GPU drivers are proprietary and not very good, honestly. The bootloader is locked. Trying to run a normal Linux distro, well, good luck getting full GPU acceleration. So while I'm excited about the N1X, I'm also very cautious. If Nvidia locks it down like Jetson, no custom ROMs, no open drivers, no Linux support, we might end up with an amazing chip trapped in a walled garden. And I am very tired of this happening across a myriad of hardware platforms. They should take a page from AMD and let the community play with it, but they'll probably double down on their vertical stack. And if it's the latter, we'll get great performance at the cost of platform freedom. So what could this chip power? Well, I have a few ideas, but I really just want a Switch 2 equivalent SoC for the general market. Let people like Aya, GPD, 1X Player build their own devices with it. If the N1X SoC lives up to its leaked specs, it could offer RTX 4070 laptop performance at lower power draws. It's not about replacing desktops, in my opinion. It's about scaling these kind of graphics into new form factors. And that's what excites me. Not just another GPU launch, but a whole new platform to build on, if Nvidia plays it right. Nvidia's N1X is not just another APU. It should be a watershed moment for the market, a move beyond discrete GPUs into full stack, good ARM-based computing. It's got specs to rival AMD's own flagship Strix Halo, the software to beat integrated GPUs itself, and the heritage to make handhelds shine. But it also carries the risk of being too locked down, too closed off, too controlled. And as someone who's seen both sides, power and restriction, with the Jetson Orin Nano Super, I know how fine that line really is. So what do you think? Would you buy a handheld with the N1X inside? Are you worried about a locked ecosystem? Would you support an Nvidia-based OS if it was a walled garden but ran all of your favorite apps? Whatever the answer, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button if you learned something, and subscribe for more deep dives just like this. This is the Silicon Fox, signing off and saying ciao.